Hello, students. I welcome to you to this program's a special session on how to conduct research in this particular program in which you are enrolled. And when I say this program, it is BA Psychology Honours as per the CBCS system. Because right now, presently the university is offering two programs in psychology apart from the BA multidisciplinary. The two main programs are BA Psychology Honours as per the CBCS, and the other one is the BA FPC, that is the BA 4-year under the 4-year scheme. The discipline of psychology is offering BA Psychology major, because there in the, if you are aware of the national education policy, it is giving us few exit options. The first exit option is at the certificate, then the diploma, then in the 3 years you get a major degree, and after 4 years you get an honors. While as in this program BA PCH, as the course code goes, BA PCH, it is as per the CBCS system, and here you are getting an honors degree after completing 3 years of the program. So you must be aware by now that from psychology, the psychology electives are primarily the core courses and the discipline specific courses, which we say as the CC and the DSE. So core courses, they are across all the 6 semesters, the first, second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth, that is all the 3 years. When we come on to the discipline specific courses, that they are primarily offered in the last year, that is in the 3rd year. So we have 4 discipline specific courses: BPCE 141, that is positive psychology; 142 is forensic psychology; 143 is environmental psychology, and 144 is dissertation. So 141 and 143 are offered in the 5th semester, while as 142, BPC 142 and 144, they are offered in the 6th semester. Now, the primarily we are going to focus in this session on BPC 144 dissertation, right? So this is a compulsory course of 6 credits. Here we don't have any assignment. If you compare it with the core courses, in the core courses we have the tutorial or the practical, while in the discipline specific courses we just have the assignments. However, in this particular course, BPCE 144, we don't have any assignment because it's a field-based program. It's a field-based course, sorry. It's a compulsory course. Now, when we say dissertation, when we say research work, it is not independent course in a way. You have read so many branches of psychology. For example, primarily you started from Introduction to Psychology, BPCC 101. Then you came on to biopsychology 102, individual differences 103, 104 was about research methods. 105 was about research methods, and 104 plus 108, BPCC 104 and 108 are specifically dealing with statistics for psychological research. So I'm talking about from the very beginning, because in this session I'm going to give you an overview how to proceed in this particular course, because many of our students are very scared because they think it's a very difficult course, how to go about it, and unnecessarily there is a lot of anxiety in completing this course. Yes, it is in the 6th semester. So by the time you come in the 3rd year, I think you are well prepared you have an idea of the various other courses, what is happening in psychology, various branches in psychology. You have fair idea of different topics that are related to psychology per se. So for this particular course, 144, I think BPCC 104 and 108, that is statistics for psychological research part 1 and statistics for psychological research part 2, plus BPCC 105, research methods, are of prime importance. Because you see, research methods, how you go about in a research, right? It talks about how you collect data, what are the methods of data collection, what are the methods of data analysis, what will be your design, and first of all, what is a research, right? So everything is dealt in BPCC 104, 105, and how you analyze, the statistical part. If it is a quantitative research, then it has to be statistically analyzed. And a very good introduction is given in 104. That is the first part. And in 108, when we talk about the inferential statistics, when we talk about the t-test and ANOVA parametric and non-parametric statistics, you are being exposed to. Now, this course is actually, it is giving some kind of exposure to the undergraduate students, because you are enrolled in an undergraduate program. It is just to give an exposure of how a research is conducted. It is not something very difficult. It is making you aware of the different steps are in how you can be engaged, how to go about selecting a topic, what are the variables, different steps actually. So we will go one by one of how we proceed in this course. First of all, the primary concern to our student is who can be the guide for our dissertation. The dissertation in the UG level, your academic counselors will be your guide. Now, the academic counselor will be from your learner support center, right? So now what is happening at the UG level? You have many friends. I mean, your batch would be of many learners, right? So you have to make a timeline of how to go about. We have actually, the academic counselors are supposed to take 6 sessions for this particular course. How to approach the problem, how to decide on the topic. Then, it is very much given stepwise. And there are 6 classes assigned, 6 sessions assigned where you have to attend, and these are mandatory. And before that, you have to also read the guide that we have prepared, that book, the handbook on dissertation. You have to first read and then go to the session, because then it becomes very easy for you to comprehend how to go about. In distance learning system, especially what we follow at IGNOU, you should always read the material and go a bit prepared. You should not be like a kind of a blank slate, or as if you don't know what the subject matter is. So whenever, for example, if you have received the material of a particular course and you are going to attend the session, so you should at least give a glimpse of it. You should have a glimpse of it. You should just cursory way, or if you are, want to go into detail, please read the study material and then go to the session. Right? For our students who have not received the study material, they can access the study material which is uploaded on our website, ignou.ac.in. However, presently our website is under repair. But if you type that particular code on the on the search engine, probably you will get an access to where it is written e-Gyan course. So you please access our university material only from e-Gyan course, which is a digital repository of all our study material. They are in the digitized version, right? So any course, whether it is 101, these are core courses, whether it is discipline specific, whether they are mandatory courses, interdisciplinary, skill-based, any type of course in your program, please read the study material before you attend any counseling session, any academic counseling sessions, or even watching a video or listening to any audio program. So coming back to this, when you start with this course, right, in the 6th semester, the first step would be to read the handbook, on dissertation, BPCE 144, and then you go to the session where you will interact with your academic counselor. That particular person, the teacher, the academic counselor, will be your guide for this particular, synopsis presentation, and finally the completion of the small research that you're going to take. So in this process, before we come on to the main points, it is like you have to prepare a synopsis also, a small synopsis. A synopsis is a kind of it is a draft kind of a proposal. It is a proposal where you mention what you intend to do in the research. The format is given in the handbook. In research, when we talk about research, we have qualitative research or quantitative research. We will not talk about the mixed research because it will be a little difficult for you at this level. For example, if you want to take a qualitative research, even a quantitative research, or a kind of a research where you can analyze the secondary data, that example is also given in the handbook. Right. So you have to prepare a synopsis, a kind of a blueprint of the research work that you intend to do. So there you will be having an, introduction, that the stages, of course, of how the chapterization is given. Here in the synopsis, we are going to have small paragraphs related to introduction. You can also combine introduction and review of literature together. We'll see what review of literature means actually. We have the significance of the study, why you exactly want to do this particular study, right? You have the methodology part. Where you are going to talk about what will be your sample, first of all, what will be your research question, your objectives, if you have any hypothesis, right? When we talk about the quantitative research, we have hypothesis. You talk about the sample. You will be conducting research on whom? Who will be your sample? You want to you want to explore something on children, on young adults, on senior citizens, meaning older adults, adolescents, teachers, HR people in an organization. You want to explore any construct on doctors, on engineers, managers of a particular company, etc. So you need to define the population, identify the population, and you need to define the sample, meaning whom you are going to include, whom you are going to exclude, right? So then what will be your sampling techniques? Now, when I'm speaking these terms, I assume that you have read them in your course BPCC 105 research methods. These terms should not be alien to you, right? Sampling, sample, population, research design, all these things, research questions, hypothesis, and so on. Now, these are all discussed in detail in 105. And that is why I'm saying that BPCC 104, 105, and 108, they become, the backbone of this particular course. So you have to read the material carefully before coming on to this, because many a times, because our system is very flexible, and it is, we can have our choice when to take the exam, or we can postpone it, because, the minimum validity of the program, of course, you have to do it in 3 years, but the maximum validity of the program is 6 years, So, because of certain reasons, you might postpone of taking the exam. However, if you want to take this course, of course, you will be taking in your third year only, after re-registration for the third year, and you start working from the 5th semester onwards. But before that, your 105, 104, and 8 should be clear. And I would rather suggest that you complete these courses. Complete these courses, meaning you need to take whatever the assignments, if they are practicals. BPCC 105 has practical also. So practical and their exam. I think then you are in a better position to handle this course. I'm not scaring you, but you will be better equipped. You will be better, you will be in a state where you can you will be able to frame the synopsis properly, because you will be abreast with whatever, like for example, the terms that I used, you are knowing those terms. All right. So first of all, you have to get the synopsis prepared, which you have to get it, you have to, submit it and get it evaluated. And then once you get the approval, and these steps, because I'm not going into detail because these are the steps already mentioned in the handbook. So once you get an approval, then only you go ahead with, research, proper research process. Then you go ahead for data collection. You go ahead how to, proceed in this course. But first of all, the first step would be, of course, now synopsis preparation. Now that is also a very typical task. Typical in a way because you should be knowing the main purpose of the study. What study you want to take? What do you want to explore? What you want to explain? Right? So that you should be clear. What kind of data you need to effectively answer the research question? Now, I just mentioned about the research question. You need to make, you need to frame certain research questions. These research questions have to be there because in line with that, you will be collecting data. That context where you are conducting the study, that should be also very clear. The ethical considerations, you cannot just like that and go and collect data. There are certain ethical considerations also, and that should be taken care of right from the very beginning. For example, you need to take a consent from your participants. You need to, after you have conducted the study and you have collected the data, you need to debrief them. You need to tell them what the purpose, if you are hiding the real purpose, because you also think that the results might be faked also. So there are certain ethical considerations when you are designing, when you are trying to do your research. So that has to be kept in mind. And you need to align the best and whatever your skills and interest, accordingly you have to align yourself, because over the period of time you will be having certain kind of skills and interests. Because why this course has been introduced. UGC introduced this course because of certain intention. Like, for example, you will also develop some critical thinking. You will develop the skill of, writing, because that is very important. UG level program is the basic. It's the starting point if you want to make a career in psychology, because you are a part of the honors program, and I take it that you are probably you are going to make a career in psychology with going for a master's program followed by research and so on. So this is the first step in this process. Now, when we talk about the basic steps, first is to, the research process when we say. So research process is actually a systematic method to gather information and answer specific questions. It's a very systematic process. So first of all, we tend to identify the key theoretical concepts or words that specify the research topic. And also, these specific words have to be included in the title of the research. We will see how. For example, relationship between sleep and psychological well-being. Right? So, now the focus here is on sleep and psychological well-being of the participants. So, for any of your study, your sample is important, your data collection methods are important, and your data analysis techniques are important, right? So relationship between sleep and psychological well-being, if suppose something of this sort you are selecting, now sleep is so important, psychological well-being is so important. So these need to reflect in your title as well, right? If we say relationship between, mental health and something, and maybe mental health and psychological well-being, right? So you are assuming that mental health might include the sleep pattern. This is just an overarching example. Anything that is the point. What I want to say here is that whatever your main constructs or variables are, they should reflect in your title. You are trying to find out the relationship between sleep. Now, sleep also should be operationally defined, meaning what you say. For example, some say that, okay, 4 hours of sleep is appropriate. Some might say that, no, 8 hours is important for the psychological well being. How you're defining psychological well being, this is also very important. Operationally defining a particular construct depends on the literature review. You should not be giving n number of definitions. You can arrive at one particular definition. You can also give your own after reviewing the literature. So research question also comes into picture, where on the basis of literature review you are going to pose the research question. You are going to, for example, this is the research question. This is from a qualitative study, right? Where the qualitative methods are used for data collection and data analysis. How the families of teenage suicide victims cope with their loss. Now, this is the research question, and you are going to explore it with the qualitative data collection method, that is interview. Interview becomes qualitative, and interview of the families of 10 teenage suicide victims in their homes. So now you are going to analyze the responses what you get from that particular interview, right? So coming back, so literature review is very important for research question. Now, designing the research, good research design. As I mentioned earlier, what the design is. Design depends, your good research design should be on the type of sample. You need to define the sample. You need to define the data collection methods or method and the data analysis. So this should be very clear, right? Collecting and analyzing data. If it is a quantitative research or a qualitative research, your method of data collection and analysis becomes different. So observation survey can be a quantitative research, and there you are going to use statistics, while as in qualitative, if we compare, it can be interview, focus group discussion, survey, observation, and then you are going to code the responses. You can thematically analyze it. So the point here, what I want to make is, you need to define, and one thing more is that whatever these the steps that I mentioned, the basic steps in research process, they are all dependent on each other. How you interpret and present the findings will also depend how you collect the data and analyze it. It also depends on how your design is. You see, if we take the reverse step, like everything is dependent on each other. Now, good research design also depends how you are conducting the literature review. What does the literature show? Your research question depends on that, right? And what is a literature review? Literature review is a synthesis of the existing body of research relevant to that research topic. If you say, for example, I just quoted here, for example, this was from a qualitative research. Families of teenage suicide victims cope with their loss. So the important aspects in this particular are, teenage suicide. So the target group is, teenagers, the adolescent group who are committing suicide, right? Suicide is important. And how the family members are coping. Teenage suicide victims cope with their loss. So how the families are also coping with their loss, right? N number of literature. There is plethora of literature, but especially when you go onto a particular database, you should focus on at least the last decade of research that has been done in this particular area. Right. So you will how the aspects to it. You should try to explore the researches that are based on this. This is something, for example, if this is of interest being conducted, and like your interest also. It should align with your interest also. That is also very important. Say, for example, and that is why you have gotten exposure to clinical psychology. You also have an exposure to counseling psychology, IO psychology. What interests you? Whatever interests you, you have to accordingly select a topic and conduct literature review. Based on that, you have to base your research questions, followed by a design. Design should actually tell you about the sample, what exactly your sample, for example, teenage victims. So you are going to be very clear about what is the age range. For example, I want to do, the age range that I'm going to specify is something between 12 to 16. All right. So after literature review, you have to find where in rural areas or exams and so on, maybe of deprived environment. So that needs to be operationally defined. How you have defined this in particular research, in this particular area. So this should not be qualitative research. The beauty of qualitative research is it is an in-depth study. So the sample size can be small. Even, if you take interview of 5 such families, 5 very natural that the sample size has to apply statistical analysis, while as in qualitative we don't apply statistical analysis. However, now we have also softwares where our qualitative data is also quantified. The datation, presentation of data, you're going to revisit the hypothesis, you are going to report statistically, you are going to check them whether they are good or not, whether they are significant or not. And if it is qualitative, then you are going to arrange them into various themes. Right, just to wrap it up, after you have completed your dissertation, it has to be submitted at your regional center. It consists of a viva voce, which will be conducted at your regional center. The thesis, the dissertation report is of 70 marks. 30 is for viva voce, where you have to, obtain 35% in each of the components. And the viva voce is to be conducted by the external examiner. Right? There is no reevaluation for BPCE 144. So you have to be very careful from the very start, and you have to complete this course within the validity of the program. The course coordinator is Dr. Smita Gupta. You can have her email also. And myself, I'm the program coordinator. I have a dedicated email to this, bapchsoss@ignou.ac.in, and you can find this the link of BPCE 144, the handbook on dissertation, is uploaded on eGyan Kosh, and we always eagerly wait for all your queries for clarification. I think you must have got some kind of overview of this particular course, and please do get back to us for any doubts or clarification. Thank you.
In the digital revolution time, education is one of the priority.